Hello everybody and welcome back. This is Not a Pro Gardener here. Today, it's about 47 degrees in the garage today. It's a little bit colder outside. It's probably like 40 degrees outside. We got some bad weather coming through here again. So we definitely need to stay on track of our plants that are in the greenhouse and all that good stuff we just direct seeded, which I believe the spinach are getting ready to start popping. So hopefully we can get some images of that, and you have to check those out on our Instagram account. Pretty much any pictures or any follow-up pictures of most of the things we do on our channel will be on our Instagram page at Not a Pro Gardener. And that's if you want to see images of our plants, or maybe like when we took pictures of seedlings and how big they are. If you like that sort of thing to see how they're progressing, you can just kind of check that out. We usually try to stay on top of that, but sometimes a photo slips through the cracks and we just pop it in there when we can. But anyway, this is Not a Pro Gardener here. We are in Zone 6B. We are going to be putting together another raised bed. We're going to be building a raised bed, kind of like I'll pop up a card of another video of us building a raised bed around one. But we're going to try to tackle almost like an oval shape, like those longer ones you usually see. We're going to try to tackle one of those and see if we can get one built, and hopefully it comes together nicely. We got a few more sheets of metal, pole barn metal, and we are going to be doing the same method. It's just going to be putting pretty much two sets together of three, and hopefully that works out because we have a lot of extra compost left over, and we want to try to build one of these oval shape ones as if it were needed. We have plenty of raised beds, but I just can't help but wanted to plant more things this year. It's just when you get that itch and it makes you want to plant things early, stuff like that. But we're just going to take you through the build and try to get a little closer and show things as we go along. We're going to flip around here on the workbench and we're going to show you the tools that we are going to use to be putting this together. We're going to try to get as much of this as we can on video, and we'll just show you what we got. So let's go check it out. All right, so this is just the tools that we happen to have. Nothing special here. You definitely need a rivet gun, and we are choosing to use these. We're choosing to use these 1/8 of an inch rivets. These are steel rivets coated with white paint. These are stronger than the aluminum ones, so this is why we chose this. This is what we used in the last raised bed as well. You're going to need this car door edge. As you can see, this stuff, there's many different kinds, but the kind that we chose to go with has a metal interior, so when you crimp it down on something, it will stay on there. So another thing you're going to need is a drill. Doesn't matter what kind you have, you're just going to need an 1/8 of an inch drill bit for steel. And then just a regular metal clamp here. Something to clamp the sheets together while you are drilling them so you don't have to use your hands. And always wear safety glasses whenever you're using tools like this. It's definitely not fun to get some metal in your eye, so keep that in mind. Alright, so we got 3 of these we're going to rivet together. And then once we get these riveted together, we're going to set them off to the side and bring up 3 more, do them separately, and then put the 2 sets together on the floor. So we're going to pick one of these sides, which is, I'm going to pick this side of the metal to me. I'm going to line them up perfectly, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the other ones. That way they all have one side that is perfectly in line, which is going to be the top. So that way, if you order metal from somewhere cut, or you're cutting it yourself and it's not perfect, you put the imperfect side down in the ground, and you won't have to worry about that. So just in case, that's just a little tip. Now, we're just going to take these and separate them like so. And I'm going to show you up close. Just make sure these edges are pretty close together. You just want to clamp it right there in the middle. That's all you really need to do. And then we're going to rivet it in these 2 pieces of metal that are lapped together right here. So I'm going to put a rivet right here. So I'm going to put a rivet right here in the middle of this to rivet both of these two pieces together. So you just take your 1/8 of an inch drill bit and do your best. Sometimes it likes to run around on you, but you just have to hold it firmly. Pulse your trigger a little bit to get a little bite, and then you can drill through it. Then you want to grab your rivet, put it in your rivet gun like that, and then you're just going to put it in like this. And then you just squeeze it until it pulls that rod through that rivet. And then you'll have one of these fall out the backside, and that's it. Now that is riveted with something that's not going to rust or corrode. And that's how we're going to fasten all of these, just like that. So now that I showed you how we did it, and the best way to do it was to use the clamp because it's a lot easier than holding these sheets with your hands. You could do it, but anyway, that's how we're going to do the rest of these. So we're going to take you back and you can kind of see us put all these together. Another note, let me show you here. We're also going to be putting a rivet in the middle and then another one here on the end. So there's going to be 3 rivets per joining of these 2 sheets of metal. So 1, 2, 3, and that's it. And then we got something planned for the rest of that. Let's go. Okay, we got these riveted. Now to move on to the next one. Alright, so as I'm looking at this, I don't think I need to do another 3 sheets, but if I just add 1 more, I think that'll probably be enough to do something about like this. I think that's plenty of room. So I think we're just going to go ahead and do that and get that one riveted on there, and then we're going to put the braces in the middle. So there's going to end up being part of a brace this way and this way to help keep its shape, and we'll see how well that does. So let's go ahead and get to it. Okay, so let me show you what we got going on here. It's going to need braces in there at some point to keep it from bowing out. And I got these 2 in here. So now we just need to put 1 more in the middle, and then whenever you're packing this bed in, you just want to be wary of the shape that you want it to look like. And I was kind of wanting it to look like an oval, and I think it's going to end up that way. I mean, it almost looks like a canoe. Like just about. On my way out to the garden because it's raining outside. Anyway, but I'm just going to take you over here and show you how this is going to end up over here, because just show you how I'm cutting these side braces and show you what they are. It's pretty much all falls pieces of this metal that I'm using, I just want to keep them down about 6 to 8 inches below the top, and that way you won't get into it whenever you're digging or whatever you're scratching in there with. So let's go ahead and spin over here and I'll show you what we got. All right, so you can just cut them with these tool here called tin snips. And I measured it out. Inside there needs to be at least around 23 to 25 inches, which ends up being pretty close to the other side of this rib here. If you can hear the rain, hopefully this audio comes out okay, but it's going to be cut about right here, and then we're going to put that middle brace in there and show you what it looks like. Hopefully it retains the shape, and if it does, then this is a huge win for me, guys, because I did want an oval shaped bed, and I think it's going to work out pretty good. So let's see how it goes. Okay, so we got these done, and the shape is good enough that I'm happy with it. But whenever you're filling these beds, I've noticed since the last two that if you hold the sides where you want them to be while you're filling it and kind of shape it as you're filling the bed, it'll hold its shape. Because those round ones that I've done, and the last time I built these, they held their shape if I held the sides or pushed them around just a little bit while I was filling them, and then I kind of pushed the dirt down a little bit around the edges to help keep its shape, and it's kept its shape. So while I'm doing this, I'm going to keep that in mind. I'll probably fill it with some logs, like hugelkultur. It kind of saves money on filling as well, so I'll probably put some logs in the bottom to help keep that from being such a costly thing. And as you can see, these braces are just to keep the sides from bowing out. Now, while I'm filling it, I'm going to keep it in mind and just kind of shape it as I go. So let's go ahead and get it out there and see what we can do with it. And another thing is this might be a little more advanced in building a bed. The round ones are like super easy to build, but to put these braces in, it's kind of a little difficult. So you need to keep that in mind when you are planning to build these. The round ones are really easy, and this one was a little more difficult to do by myself. Whenever this is all done, this thing's going to be all looking pretty, so let's go ahead and get that edging on there and see how that goes. Okay, so this edging helps protect yourself or kids from the edges of this metal or the corners where they lap, which is, I think it's very important, so that's why we put it on there. Now I'm going to go ahead and start this, and you just, let me take it a little closer, and you just kind of hold it up with one hand and slowly push it down onto it, just like that, and then you just bend, just swing you around here. And then you just kind of bend it where you need it to go and hold pressure down with this hand and just kind of bend it around where you want it to go, and it just kind of goes right into place. Okay. Now I do cut this a hair longer, and you got to find the segments in between these metal clamps inside this stuff, and then you just knife right through it. And then I try to go over the other piece just a little bit because it probably will shrink a little bit, but there it is. And I think it looks pretty darn good. So I'm going to just go around and push on it and just make sure I got it down all the way, and then we're going to take it out and get it filled up. Let's get to it. Alright everybody, so as you can see or hear, hopefully, it is sprinkling a little bit. So we're going to try to get this done pretty quick. But this is where I'm thinking I'm going to put it. And actually, in fact, I know this is where I'm going to put it because we're about to fill it right now. So I'm going to cut this weed fabric out of here so there's an outlet to the ground for worms and beneficials like that. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and then you'll see me filling it with logs to help save money on filling these things. Like, it kind of takes up a lot of space, and it's not such a, it saves money on filling these things. So whenever, I think, in my opinion, this one's about 18 inches by 5 foot long and about 25 inches wide is what it turned out to be with 4 sheets of this metal. Okay, so I'm going to use them to help fill it, and then on top of that I'm going to put some straw tucked around in places to help fill it out, and then I'm going to use the compost with the wood chips in it first, and then on the very top I sifted out a bunch of it already, pre-sifted for the top, so I have some good stuff to plant in on top of there. So let's go ahead and get this stuff done, guys. It's raining. Alright everybody, so as you can see, we got it topped off here with some of that good sifted compost with very little wood chips in it. So let's take you down here. It's filled up to about halfway, I'd say, about 6 or so inches, because I packed that straw down in there as far as I could, and then when I got the first layer of compost in there, I packed it down again as well, just to kind of get it down as much as I can, because as you can see, I filled it up pretty full, because I know it's going to drop down about 1 inch or 2 in probably a couple weeks, and I'm just going to top it off some more with some compost, and then we'll be ready to plant some stuff in it as well. So try to take you back a little farther. As you can see, it's right here in front of the greenhouse by this one as well, and height wise that one's about half the height. So this one's going to be a nice addition, and we're going to go ahead and keep you updated on this. Alright, so as you can see, we got this raised bed filled out here, and we had to kind of cut it off because it was starting to rain, so that's about as far as we could get. So Now we're in the greenhouse and it finally dies down a little bit out, and I think it turned out pretty great. I am pleased with it. So we got some more room, and it might just be a good home for some flowers or some herbs and flowers. I think that'd be a pretty good spot for that stuff as you walk up to the greenhouse and you see all that nice pretty color right there. Hopefully we can get some stuff going for that. So this is Not a Pro Gardener here. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time out there in the garden. Have a great day.